All right. I'm going to talk through like how efficiency works and how to make this plot of land to be like the most efficient as possible. So we're looking at power stations to bring up efficiency and the paths to bring down the time it takes for your fuel and elements to produce, along with just building new structures. So for most plots of land outside of tier 4 that has a fuel landmark, you're going to be aiming for 150% efficiency on your fuel and element, actually really on everything. But your top priority is going to be fuel first. To show that I kind of know what I'm talking about. So this is my tier 3. I already made this one as efficient as possible. So I basically just want to show you what I'm working with before I go back to that tier 2. As you can see here, I even go into my activities, the 10% reduced time for everything across the board. I have everything down 10%. So every fuel and element producing site is touching some path. And then if you look across the board, I actually have some that are 200%. That's because I have the halogenic geode landmark, which gives me increased efficiency on my silicone producers. What's actually very interesting about my land is I actually don't have any silicone sites. So all of my silicon is coming from converters. But anyways, I just wanted to show you how efficiently I built this one. So when we go through the tier 2, it's not like I'm making things up on the spot. I've already worked this land. I've tweaked so many little things to get it as efficient as possible, but now is when I want to get this this tier 2 Crimson Wasteland going. So this is a tier 2 plot. Here's what I'm working with. For fuel, I have 2 Hyperion extractors, 1 Solon extractor, so not ideal. For element sites, I have 2 Hyperion sites. I have 3 mines. I actually have 1 hidden way back up here. So 3 mines producing silicon and 1 producing carbon. So at least I have at least 1 of each of those, even though that's not quite balanced either. But realistically, like if you have a plot of land, there's a very low chance that you have a very balanced plot. Like if you could somehow have 1 of each fuel site and 2 of each element site, then like you're golden. But most people don't have that. Another thing to note, your fuel converters. So this is a fuel converter here. If I move this, you can see it doesn't really have much of an interaction with a fuel site that is a different fuel site. So same here, same here. I don't have a Krypton fuel site, so it almost doesn't matter where I put this. Now let's look at a Solon converter. So now if I move this, again, nothing for the 2 Hyperion sites, but it does get increased efficiency from the actual Solon site. And then, same with my Hyperion converters. So you can see I get the increased efficiency next to both of the Hyperion sites, but nowhere else. So this was actually a question that was asked when I posted my tier 3 region, because I had 3 Hyperion sites and I also had 3 Hyperion converters. And someone asked me why I had so many Hyperion converters, because clearly I don't need to convert to Hyperion because I have so many of the fuel sites. But the reason is I'm taking what the land is giving, if you think about it that way. So I could probably get an extra converter or 2 on my plot of land because I made those Hyperion ones, because I'm able to get more efficiency out of them because I have the Hyperion fuel sites, if that makes sense. If you're just looking at this and you're just like, oh, 2 Hyperion sites, 1 Solon site, all I really want is Krypton converters. Well, you're not getting the most out of your land if that's what you're doing. So you really just want to figure out what your land has to produce the most fuel, and then from there, I would actually focus your storage based on what your land is providing you. And for right now, if you try to sell on the fuel exchange, I know a lot of people are having problems with that. Right now, Krypton is the highest value out of the 3. So even if you made it so you're producing a lot more Hyperion, all you need to do is increase your storage for Hyperion, and then as you're able to convert it over to Krypton, then sell the Krypton off to the market. What I have on my land here, I kind of wish I had more of these converters to show you how to really get the most out of it, but I have 2 Krypton converters, 2 Solon converters, and 1 Hyperion. So if you're looking at these 2 Hyperion converters, they work against each other for efficiency. Considering I have 1, sorry, did I say Hyperion? Solon converters. Considering I have 1 Solon site, I need to get these 2 converters as close to this Solon site so they take advantage of the bonus from the site, but they don't take away from each other. So let's see what we can do here. So we want to get it within this green. All right, so let's just say, for example, I put it really close. And I get 110. I could take this and maybe I'm over here where it's not really, and you can actually see how this one right here interacts. When I get a certain amount closer, they start taking away from each other. So you're probably looking, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 blocks away. Once you get closer than that, they're hurting each other. So what I want to do is I actually want to pull this one a little further away. Let's say here. And then I can move this one a little closer. But also keep in mind of the spaces. You don't really need 1 block of space between these two because what are you going to put there other than a path? Ideally, you want maybe 2 blocks so you could fit a power station in there. So again, I'm going to move this probably 1 spot away. And then I can move this one 1 spot closer. So now they're not... Both of them are getting the extra efficiency from the Solon site, but they're not taking away from each other because they're that, like I said, probably 7 to 8 blocks away from each other. And again, if I were to move this in, you'd see how they both drop in efficiency. So there you go. And when you're doing this, you always want to start with the fuel converters. Don't worry about the other things. Get the highest percentage for your fuel and then move on to your elements. So this is the 2 Krypton converters I have. And like I said, they don't get any increased boost anywhere on this plot of land because I don't have any Krypton fuel sites. So these are going to be the last ones I worry about. Next, I'm going to look at this one. So this is a Hyperion converter. And as I build up this land, like the next 2 converters that I get are probably going to be more Hyperion converters. Because like I said, you want to play to what the land is giving you. So because I could go next to this Hyperion site or this Hyperion site, I'm able to fit more of these on my land still with that highest efficiency. And so knowing that I want to do that, I don't want to just throw it right next to the site here. I want to put it a little away from the site. So then the next one I get, I can put, say, on this side. Now this green's a little skewed because I have power stations here on the left, but that might be a good spot and I can always adjust it after. Actually, we'll go on this side. And then you want to take these and kind of work around it. So again, you don't want to get too close to other converters because it hurts those converters. You really want to find the best spot that you could probably put it. So this is enough out of the way, but I don't just want to throw it on the complete other side of the map because I'm also going to get all my power stations in here that is going to help it. And then let's see what I can do with this one. Again, kind of take what it gives you. I'm going to want to put another Hyperion one somewhere either around here or around here. So I can just fit this somewhere in there. Kind of do what I'm doing now to make it as efficient as possible before I had too many structures on my land. But I'm probably done making Krypton converters and I'm probably done making Solon converters. I'm probably going to make at least 2, maybe 3 more of these Hyperion converters. So the one thing you can't forget about when you're doing all of this is your paths. You want to make sure your paths touch all of these units. And a lot of this is trial and error. Like, I'm going to try to put the paths down now, but I'm likely going to have to change those around. But you kind of need to put something in place the best you can and then make adjustments as you go. Same with these converters. Like, I might end up shifting them the way the paths run. Let's try to get some paths in here. So I want it to touch all 3. And you don't even need to wrap around it. Just need to touch in one spot. So I know this might be tough to see. This is actually tough. Like, I have 3 sites that are right on top of each other, where fortunately it's not 3 fuel sites, but really the more your sites are spread out, the better you can work your land. And that's something I wish I knew earlier on, because I would have maybe traded out some land to get something that's more balanced, but also more spread out. All right, so I actually want paths to touch all of these. So maybe I come out like this. You also don't want to cover all around it because you're going to want to put your power stations as close to these as possible. So especially when you have like these 2 Krypton sites or converters. I don't have the Krypton's fuel extractor. So I don't want to cover up too much of the space with paths here. And I want to get some paths onto this one. So again, I'm probably going to make some adjustments to these at some point, but it's good to get something going. You really want to make as many connecting as possible. I'm going to come up this way. So there's just a base for my paths here. So now we're going to start building around this one. And also, when you're trying to build out your land for efficiency, don't worry about the structures that don't have efficiency, basically. So you don't need to worry about your nexus, where are all these other ones? Your storage, your workshop, and your quantum fabricant. Fill those in later. I know at first I was just like, oh, I want to put them all near each other in like a central spot or all in the same corner just so it looked good. It's a little OCD thing, I guess. But you're better off just making sure it's as efficient as possible and then filling those in later.